All right, so your Ford's thrown a P2195 code at you. Look, don't sweat it. Think of this less as a problem and more like a mystery. And in the next few minutes, you're going to be the detective, and we're going to crack this case wide open. Let's dive in. Ooh, you know that feeling, right? You're just driving along, mind your own business, and then bam, there it is, that glowing check engine light on your dash. It's just so annoying, maybe a little worrying. But hey, it's not just there to bug you. Your car is trying to tell you something very, very specific. So you did the right thing. You plugged in your scanner and it spat out this code, P2195. Yeah, I know, it sounds super technical, right? But don't worry about the numbers. For us, this is just the first major clue. This is what kicks off our whole investigation. All right, so let's grab our detective hats. We're going to follow the evidence. We'll investigate the scene of the crime, your engine bay, and we're going to round up all the usual suspects. And trust me, by the end of this, we'll have this mystery solved together.
Okay, first up, the clue. I mean, every good detective knows you've got to understand your evidence, right? So before we start pointing fingers and looking for what caused this, let's figure out what this P2195 code is actually telling us.
So at its heart, this is actually pretty simple. Think of your car's computer like a master chef. It's always trying to mix the perfect recipe of air and fuel. Well, the P295 code means that one of your key taste testers, the oxygen sensor, is basically screaming that the recipe is lean. It's saying, hey, there's way too much air and not nearly enough fuel in this mix. All right, on to part two, the scene. You know, a good detective never just looks at one piece of evidence and calls it a day. Nope, we've got to look at the whole scene. So, besides that check engine light, what else is your car doing? What are the other symptoms? So, do any of these ring a bell? Like, is your engine kind of rough or sputtering when you're stopped at a red light? Or maybe it hesitates or even surges when you try to accelerate? And have you noticed you're hitting the gas station way more than usual? Or maybe you hear this faint pinging or knocking sound? Yeah, these are all the classic signs that go hand in hand with our main clue, that P2195 code. Okay, section 3. Let's round up the usual suspects. We've got our main clue, and we've collected all the other evidence from the scene. So now it's time for the big question. Who done it? Let's take a look at the most common culprits behind this lean condition. Now, this is absolutely crucial to understand. The problem boils down to one of two things. Either, one, your engine is actually running lean. You know, maybe a vacuum leak is letting in extra air it shouldn't, or a fuel pressure problem is starving it of gas. Or, scenario 2, the O2 sensor itself is just lying. It's gone bad and is sending a false, lean signal to the computer. And our entire job here is to figure out which of those two stories is the truth. All right, this is where the real fun starts, the detective work. We're moving past the theory and into action. I'm going to walk you through how to systematically hunt down the real culprit, step by step. But wait, before you touch a single tool, do this one crucial thing first. Check for other codes. Seriously, if you see any other codes pop up, especially something like a P0171, which also means lean, or maybe a misfire code, you've got to deal with those first. A lot of the time, they are the real problem, and fixing them will make this P2195 code just vanish. It is the #1 shortcut in this entire investigation, so don't skip it. Okay, now for our diagnostic checklist. We're going to do this logically. We'll start with the simplest and most common stuff first, basically just using our eyes to check for obvious leaks. From there, we'll dig into the live data on our scan tool, and only then will we get into testing specific parts. See, it's a clear path, from the easy stuff to the more complex. So the code is super specific, right? It says bank 1, sensor 1. So where the heck is that? Well, bank 1 is just the side of your engine that has the #1 cylinder, and sensor 1 means it's the upstream O2 sensor, the one that's before the catalytic converter. Its job is critical because it's the very first sensor to measure that air-fuel recipe as it comes out of the engine. Okay, let's go back to our scan tool. This is a big one. You need to look for something called fuel trims, both short-term and long-term. Now, if you see those numbers creeping up into high positive territory, I'm talking +15, +20, maybe even +25%, that is your smoking gun. It's proof that your car's computer is freaking out and desperately dumping in extra fuel to try and fix what it thinks is a lean problem. So, how does the computer actually see this lean condition? It all comes down to the voltage coming from that O2 sensor. See, a happy, healthy sensor will have a voltage that bounces up and down like crazy. But a sensor that's stuck lean,
its voltage will just flatline. It'll be stuck at a really low number, almost always under zero point 0.2 volts. If you see that on your scanner, you found it. You're seeing exactly what the computer is seeing. And there you have it. You've followed the clues. You've analyzed the data, and you've cornered your suspect. Now it's time to close this case and get your Ford back to running the way it's supposed to. So whether your detective work pointed to a simple cracked vacuum hose, a bad O2 sensor, a dirty MAF sensor, or maybe a weak fuel pump, the good news is the path forward is crystal clear. The diagnosis, that was the hard part. The fix is just about replacing or repairing that one thing you found. Okay, once you've made that repair, there are just 3 final steps to officially close the case. First, obviously, do the repair. Second, grab that scan tool again and clear the code from the computer's memory. And third, take it for a good test drive. This is how you confirm the fix worked and that our first clue, that darn check engine light, is gone for good. So there you have it, that P2195 code. It's not some big, scary, intimidating problem after all, is it? It's just a case to be solved. And now you've got the clues, you know the suspects, and you have the step-by-step procedure. The only question left is, are you ready to get started on your investigation?